couch.
I feel like I'm good. I want to show you all the tea that we're drinking.
Oh, yes.
This is my little tea kettle that I got from the Asian market. And then the teacups. Oh, it cooled down. It's not
It's hot.
Yours is so hot?
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just a sissy. I also burned my finger, look. Such a random burn.
And you said that I'm a sissy.
I didn't say it hurt. And then I made these little matcha cookies from Sweet Laurel's Sweet Book, pastry book thing. They're really good. One day we'll go to LA and we'll try her actual bakery. Ooh. Hopefully soon. Anyway, this is the tea that we're drinking. It's the white peach peach blossom white tea from Miro in
Seattle.
Yeah, Ballard. It's really good. Okay, y'all. I hope our body language is okay. It's kind of what my vision was to have us both sitting in chairs. It just didn't work out. So here we are using a couch
That I blended to.
Maybe we can just sit like this. This is how we talk. Yes.
Like I'm your therapist.
And then your legs like this. No.
You want to stay like that?
Wait, let's see what it looks like.
So.
Wait, it's not that bad. I feel like we could like look at each other and then look at it.
I think it looks a little weird.
Okay, fine. At least you're honest. So what do you think is more natural for us to do?
I don't know.
Maybe we can sit like this, like facing each other. Because I feel like when girls have sleepovers and we're sitting on a bed and we're talking.
Yeah,
like,
we always sit like
we
this.
always sit like this. So knee up.
Am I too far?
Okay. No, I don't know.
Nah!
Okay, this right here is my best friend in the entire world, okay?
Why are you saying it like that?
I don't know. Should I redo that?
No.
Okay, this is Emily.
Hi.
And we always have the most deep conversations ever. Should we take a sip actually first? Or is yours too hot?
I'm gonna try.
Okay, I think it might be too hot. Is she too hot?
No, the cup is just really hot.
I looked at tea etiquette online
Mm-hmm.
and they said never pinky up.
No.
But I know somebody who always drinks with their pinky up and I'm like, you think you fancy?
The tea itself isn't hot, but the cup.
Yeah. Let's try these cookies too. Tell me if you like it. Okay, it's not my recipe. Cheers.
I like it.
Okay, let's get into this little conversation. We're gonna have a conversation about, oh, this is why I wanted Emily. Because her and I will have conversations and we're like, oh my gosh, we should just start a podcast. We should start a podcast. We should start a podcast. We've said that many times.
Yeah.
Many times. And then once I filmed the last video, my gallbladder one, I was thinking, I was like, I want to do another video, but I want to do it with Emily. And then Emily calls me and she's like, we should do a podcast. I'm like, wow, that's so funny you say that because I was thinking that. Like as if we should do a video together. And so here we are doing a video together. Yeah. But we've done one before. Remember that game that we did?
Yes.
That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But
a long time ago though.
That was a really long time ago. It was our sophomore year of college. That's where we met, in college. But so here we are. We're gonna have a conversation about relationships, so stay tuned. But first I want to introduce who she is and how we met. I'm gonna let you tell the story of how we met because you say it way better than I do.
Okay. So we first met our freshman year at SPU. And she was my next door neighbor. We were all moving in like the first day of freshman year. And Virginia just zooms over to our room and goes, hi, I'm Virginia. We're gonna be living next to each other. Let's be friends.
And look at us now.
And now we're friends. And then the rest is history.
Yeah, we've had a lot of memories. I wouldn't say we've had a lot of ups and downs. I think there was only one down. And that's when I moved to Arizona. That was while I was in Arizona. And I feel like there was a lot of transition in my life at that time. And so I was just trying to adapt to everything going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and me too. There was a lot of changes in my life too at the time. But it wasn't even like that.
No.
Low, it was like a doop.
Yeah, it wasn't even that bad.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Like, I wonder why, like, our relationship worked so well after so many years.
I think because we've like you lived in Arizona for 2 years, and I go back and forth between here and Portland a lot. Like, and we don't see each other that often, like once a month, maybe once every 2 months. And then during COVID, it was like we hadn't seen each other for like 6 months.
And I was here in Washington.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know. I don't even know why we can just come back. I think we just have like mutual respect for each other's time and space.
Yeah. Yeah.
That like we don't need to see each other every day to be as close as we are.
Yeah, Emily and I always talk about how there's just a connection that you find with very few people in life. Yeah. And it's such a soul tying connection too. And I don't know, I feel like we've said this, we only have a few people in our lives who we feel that way with, and she'll obviously talk about her boyfriend because that's what really, it's her relationship, you know. And she feels the same way about him. Yeah. But yeah, so Emilee's a nurse, a registered nurse.
I forgot to say that.
That's what she does for a living. She is hands down one of the kindest people you will ever meet in your entire life. She really is one of the best people that I know, and I don't say that lightly, and I don't say it just to be nice to you right now. I mean it. If I think about it too much, I will start crying.
Yeah, I was like, don't stop crying, girl.
So we're not gonna go there. Okay, so the series that I really want to get into with Tea Time with Beast, the series is finding joy. And so this particular topic is finding joy in your relationship status. So I am in a very single place. Actually, that sounded wrong. That sounded like it's a bad thing.
No, but we can expand on that too. Like, why is that a bad thing? Like, society has...
Where's my pen? Girl, hold on.
Because you just saying, like, I'm in a single place right now, or I am single right now, why does that have a negative connotation? Yeah. Like, that is literally just fact. That the same way that I can state that I'm in a relationship, you should be able to state I'm single without any of the negative connotations that go along with that.
Isn't that crazy? How like they're like, whenever someone asks you, oh, are you in a relationship, and you say no, you automatically feel like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, like you feel shamed, and like,
which you shouldn't.
And like, people may not say that. Like, they may not say like, oh, like, what's wrong? Like, you know, why aren't you in a relationship? Oftentimes they do. Yeah. But they don't have to say that for you to feel the like, like the energy that like,
you're like, I'm not a lost cause.
Yeah, like the fact that you felt like you even had to defend yourself there just says a lot about.
Dang it. Okay, we're off to a good start though. And so yeah, and then Emilee's we're gonna kind of go more into finding joy in your relationship too. And I want you to talk also about moments in your singleness too, where you found joy too. But I just wanted to start with this. Yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend, and I was telling them how I am in such a good place emotionally and mentally, and how I'm just not ready to introduce someone into my life right now who isn't in that same space, you know? And not saying that like people who aren't, like, I've spent so much time trying to heal from past relationships that I don't think it's fair to introduce someone and welcome someone into my life right now who isn't in that same headspace. Yeah. I don't know if that's selfish or if that's like inconsiderate of me, because everyone's fighting their own battles. I'm not asking for someone perfect. I'm asking for someone emotionally and mentally available. And if they're not, then I was telling this to the person I was talking to yesterday, and they're like, no, that is actually a really good place to, that's a good mindset to have, because you can so quickly find someone who is like with so many red flags, and you just try to, because you want to be in a relationship, you don't even care. And you look past it.
I was gonna piggyback off that like, also I feel like the best relationships work when the timing is right, when you're both in that time in your life, because when there's a mismatch, like I've experienced that, you've experienced that, like where someone is in a different headspace and you're in a different headspace, and the two mismatch, and inevitably the relationship will end. Yeah. Because I think like what that other person wants will always come to the surface. And like,
but I guess you could work through it, but sometimes it's just it's stronger than the both of you, whatever demons that they're trying to fight. Yeah. And I just, no offense, But I really do want to be with somebody who's like excited about life, you know, and not constantly in the back of their mind thinking about someone else or something else. You know, like you got to work on yourself and then put yourself in a place where you're ready to be available for someone else too, and take on and mesh your lives in together. Yeah. And if you're not there, bye. I'll see you when you're there. And on top of that, I think that there's a beautiful thing in, like, obviously my faith is so important to me, and I think one of the most beautiful things about Jesus is that you can come to him in your brokenness, you know, and when you do feel like it's raining. People can, like, I could push you away because of whatever. I'll be there for you, but I don't want to be there romantically for you, you know, but God will be there and fulfill any kind of desire that your heart needs, and he's there to help you be better. Whereas I don't know if I would want to take on that baggage of someone else to try to make them better, you know. And I think that's the beautiful thing of faith, is that you're able to come to God and Jesus in your brokenness, and he's like, bro, we can work together, and I love you already. And that, like, doing that will fulfill you so much more and, like, actually be beneficial to your growth than looking for that in another person. Like, if you're looking for that in another person, I think that it potentially could just contribute more to your brokenness. Yeah. Or, like, seeking it in people is, like, or in one person, and especially in a relationship, can be unhealthy. It can spiral in other ways, but that's a whole different topic. I know. Anyway, Emily and I always go into rabbit holes all the time. I know, like, we have to try and stay on track here. That's why I was telling her, I'm nervous for this video because I feel like it's gonna go so long, which is a good thing, but also I need to edit it anyway. Talking about joy, I had a couple questions for you, so I'm gonna bring up someone from your past, and I hope that's okay. No. Okay, so Emily dated a guy that we both knew for a while. In college. He actually lived in the same dorm building as us. And we were all friends before, like, he and I started dating. And when they started dating, naturally, I became close friends, closer to him. And I feel like even him and I had, like, a close bond too. Because our personalities were very compatible, even though sometimes I'm like, shut up. Like brother and sister. Yeah, very brother and sister. And I mean, I think we both still do you love him? I have love for him. Yeah, so we both have love for him. But definitely not in love. No. Well, that was never my case. No, but I remember, do you remember that one night we went to the Cheesecake Factory? What were we celebrating? Was it his birthday? My birthday? No, it was like it was just like the end of the year. It was a week before finals, or we were celebrating, like, being done with school. Because because remember that question was brought up of what was the happiest moment of your life? We did talk about that. Birthday, though, right? Because I think it was his birthday. Okay, but I want to go back to that question. And that's something that I really liked about him, though, is that he would always ask those deep questions, right? Those, like, that you have to think about. Since then, I don't remember. Do you remember what you answered that day? I don't remember. I remember mine. It was when my parents had told me that they were pregnant with my youngest brother, Johnny. It has changed. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Things have changed since then. I'm asking you now, what would you say was has been the happiest moment of your life so far? So I remember, I feel like we talked about this, or maybe I talked about it with somebody else. But so the original question was asked our freshman year or sophomore year of college. Yeah. And it's definitely changed since then. If I can think about it, like, if I could pinpoint it down, it would be my college graduation. Like, the moment was walking on the stage, getting my diploma, and, like, I could hear, because my family is so boisterous, they're so loud, and I knew exactly where they were sitting. I saw them and I could hear them, and I would say that was the happiest moment of my life. It was just like, I feel like my life has just been culminating to that, and that, like, and it wasn't just my family, it was like my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, like my crew, I guess, or my support system that has literally supported me from
day one from birth to that moment. So it was really special for like.
And a lot of really special people were there because your cohort was there, the professors who helped you and guided you to get you to where you are now were all there. So to share that moment and have everyone collectively in that, I would get like chills thinking about it. You know, that's such a beautiful moment. Yeah. Crazy to think that some people didn't get to experience that because of COVID. Really sad, actually. Yeah. One of your biggest accomplishments that's being celebrated.
Yeah. Especially for people that were like in a similar situation as me, of like being a first-gen American, being a first-generation college student, like that moment is really big. Yeah. It's really big. It's a huge accomplishment for a lot of people. So, oh man, it makes me feel sad that they didn't get to experience that.
But I'm so proud of you. And I mean, y'all, Emily is one of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. No. Yes. Yes. She put herself through college with assistance of your parents, right? But the majority of it was you. Yeah. She worked like 5 million jobs.
Like a lot of jobs.
and you were emotionally available for your friends and people in your life, and that's a lot to juggle. I think that a lot of people in college can say that too, that sometimes it gets too much to do school, work, family, friends. It gets a lot. I remember there was a season though where I felt like I had to give you your space though, because I was like, dude,
it was nursing school. Yeah. Like last year of nursing school.
Yeah, it was when you were in your clinicals.
Yeah. I was like, I cannot function right now.
No, I thought outside of this. I was thinking about you. I was praying for you. I was like, this girl is unwell. And I was in Arizona at that time too. Yeah. But you were doing like graveyard shifts
night shift. Night shift, that was a rough period, Yeah,
that was hard. And then you were trying to heal from things, and so it's just funny how that happens all at once. Anyways, that's beautiful though. I'm glad that. Okay. Sorry, I have questions that I wrote down, but looking back at your singleness, what would you say that you found the most joy in?
I loved being single. By the way, as much as I love my relationship and I love my boyfriend, like I loved being single because my favorite part was like meeting other people's stories, like and knowing that my story had developed to a certain point of, I have this really like rich, joyful like story to my life, and I wanted to meet other people and see where their stories were, and if they would cross or if we would just kind of meet and part ways. And I really loved that about being single, was just kind of like I get to know other people's stories and see if they match mine, and not in like I don't know, I didn't approach dating in like I have a checklist and they have to like meet every single thing on it, but it was more just like in my eyes, in my head, like God has created these people and has walked with them through their stories, so like there is some value, there is some importance in that. And then just seeing if that
that's beautiful
matched with mine. That was honestly my favorite part about
that's so, I feel like I haven't, it's funny that was like your singleness while you were like going out meeting new people, right? And that has not been my experience. Just because I'm scared. I really am. I feel like I have a wall up for that.
Yeah. Well, this is like post my first relationship.
Oh, okay.
So I think about that as my actual true single period, because I hadn't dated anybody until my first relationship was when I was 19.
Sorry, y'all. We got cut. Scene. You were saying how your first relationship was when you were 19.
Yeah. And then I considered, like, I wasn't interested in dating before that. Like, I was kind of boy crazy, like being a freshman in college, like also never had dating in high school, and you see all these like new boys and they're older and they're.
But it was funny because at we went to SPU together,
which was no men.
It was like a 3-to-1 ratio.
I can like literally think of the guys that we all thought were cute, like because there was like, first of all, there was like.
Do you remember the first guy that I liked? Oh, you know I didn't like him, remember, because he wrote me up.
Oh my gosh, I remember. Wait, what was his name?
Right. Remember he had
yes. Okay, I was like, I just remember him being like very group and mosaic. Like,
oh
that kind of
yeah.
vibe.
I was like, oh, I like it.
Yeah, but like there really was like such a small pool of guys.
Slim pickings.
And so even then, like as much as I was boy crazy, like it was a lot of older guys. But I didn't expect to date anyone because I knew the pool of guys, and I knew that I was not interested in the majority of them. So I was like, whatever, I gave up. So anyways, I don't really count that time being single because I wasn't dating. Like when my ex and I got together, like it just happened.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
But like when I started dating was like maybe a year after we broke up.
Yeah.
And that is what the time that I think of when I answer that question.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very long.
It's just funny because I had all my relationships. I never called a guy my boyfriend because I was afraid of the title. It just freaked me out. It made me feel like it was more serious than what it needed to be. And I guess that kind of goes to show that I did go into them without any intention for it being long-term. Because subconsciously I wouldn't let them be called my boyfriend because I was afraid of what that, like to me, the way that I am is I hold a lot of value to words. So when people say a certain word, I'm like, bro, that means a lot to me. Don't use that, you know? Yeah. So I hold a lot of value to words. And so I never wanted to call these guys my boyfriends or whatever. But I went through a lot of relationships. Like I talked to so many guys, I'd go on dates with them all before college.
Oh yeah.
So mom, if you're watching this, please don't be disappointed. From like 14 to 18, those 4 years, even though I was really young, I was dating. I was flirting. I was like talking to a lot of guys. I was emotionally invested into guys, romantically invested with guys, and then once I went to college, I was like, I'm ready for my husband.
Oh, that's how, yeah, like our freshman year, sophomore year.
Yeah, I was ready to get married at 18.
Yeah.
And then guess what happened? Nothing. It was dry. Dry. It's just funny how like Emily experienced most of her boy romantic interactions post 19 and I post 18, and mine were pre-18, and then after we like flip-flopped.
Yeah.
and then now I'm like, nah, I don't want it.
Yeah.
So that was her singleness. And now what would you say you find the most joy in being with Drew?
Oh.
Can I say his name? Do you guys care?
No.
Okay, with Drew. We love Drew. I just feel kind of bad because y'all started dating right before COVID. Like not too soon before.
Yeah, like January.
Exactly. And he lives in Portland, and so I haven't been able to spend a lot of time with him.
Yeah.
Whereas with your ex, I'd be around him all the time.
But we were in school, we lived in the same dorm, like we would study together.
And we're in the same apartment afterwards. So but it just sucked. It just sucks now that I don't get to like build more of a relationship with Drew.
Yeah.
But from the interactions I have had with him, I do love him.
Yeah.
And I love him because you love him. Unless he pisses you off, then just kidding, we don't endorse violence on this channel.
What the most joy that I found in my relationship?
Yeah, in your relationship with Drew.
Elle won't cry. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna cry.
I'll cry with you.
I think it's honestly like feeling secure that somebody has your back at all times. And Drew says this too. And I don't think I've told this to him, like that this is like what I find the most joy in, but like knowing that someone is in your corner at all times. Like no matter how big you mess up, no matter like how you change, or like how wherever life takes you, like that person will always have your back and always support you through literally everything. And I've witnessed that like in so many different ways, like in the decisions that I've made in my career, like in my physical appearance. Like I've changed a lot of different things in that realm. Even my attitude towards things have changed, and through all those changes, like he is still so supportive. He's still like, you're still you, and I still love you for that.
Like he's like an encouraging evolution of who you are.
And that's also one of the things that I love the most, is that like I can evolve, I can grow, I can change, I can thrive in different ways, and he will still be there for me. Like it's like that evolution is not dependent on him.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
So beautiful. I love that. I love that for you. The next question is, Why do you choose Drew every single day? Besides the fact that he's there for you.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about Drew that makes you choose him every single day?
Oh my gosh, this is really deep. This is one of the ones you didn't want to ask me.
So we met before this, and I was like, there are some questions I want to leave for when we have this conversation, because I want your like first response and first thought to it.
Okay. So why do I choose Drew every day? There is so many things, like my brain just flooded with so many things. I think the first thing that comes to mind is like he is so family oriented. Like the way that he loves his family is the same way that he loves my family, and I know that is the same way that he would love our family, like when we have a family one day, which is like, for me, and like you can disagree and everyone else can disagree, but like I want to be in a relationship because I eventually want to have a family and build a family with that person. So that
I'm there too.
It's like one of the biggest things. And he's so selfless, always puts other people first, and that includes myself. And I don't know, like being with someone that puts other people first is, in my opinion, and for me, is really important.
You know, you're like that too.
And I think that might be why. I think like I was in a relationship prior where like that give and take wasn't so reciprocal. And so having it be reciprocal and not even having to think about it, not even having to ask for it, not even having to look for it, like that reciprocation is just there. That it makes it so easy to choose him. And then also, like we touched on this earlier, like the way that he supports my growth. Like for example, like if I want to do travel nursing or if I want to do international nursing, he, without even a question in his mind, he's like, yeah, go do it. Go do it, and I'll be here waiting for you to get back. Or if the time is right for me, I'll go with you. And then piggybacking off of that, like we are very independent. And I always reiterate this to him too in our relationship, like I don't ever want to depend on him. I love that we rely on each other and that we are each other's shoulder and that we are each other's like rock and support and whatever other analogies you want to use, but we don't depend on each other for any of those things, in that like he is my source of support or my only source of positivity or whatever. Like he is just a source. You can't put everything that you are in another person. And I love, like that is also another reason, like he supports my independence and I support his. It's very mutual, I think. Which I think is a foundation to a healthy relationship, right? But I was gonna say that word choose and choice. I think that a lot of people in relationships don't realize that when you wake up in the morning after an argument, right? Like you're choosing, and your relationship with anybody, with yourself, with your mom, like your mom, your dad, whoever it may be, like you're choosing to love that person. Even after they did something wrong. Like even, maybe I'll talk about myself, right? Because I'm single. If I did something that I don't stand by, I was like, wow, I really didn't like that I did that. Sure, I really don't have much of a choice because I live with me, but I have to choose to love myself even through that mistake so that I can overcome it and I have the choice to do better. You know, so when you wake up in the morning and after something that may have happened between you and Drew, you're looking at him and you're like, I choose to love you today. Even though it's hard, I'm choosing to love you. It's a decision you consciously make every single day to be with that person. I feel like for myself, one of my fears is one day someone not choosing me, you know? And then that's why I think sometimes I feel more secure being single, because I will choose myself. And I won't abandon me, you know? But I know that, and the thought of somebody else having that kind of power freaks me out sometimes. That's a real honest moment, y'all. And so, like, just to piggyback off of it, always piggybacking, just riding your back like this. Like that fear is so real. Like giving someone that power it can be debilitating, or the thought of giving someone that power can be debilitating, but I think it's on the flip side of it can be so beautiful. And I personally just didn't ever want to make decisions out of fear. I didn't want that fear to hold me back from experiencing something beautiful. Like my last relationship, like I kind of knew in the back of my mind, and you knew, and like a lot of people knew, that it probably wasn't going to last till the very end. And yeah, I still chose to go through with it because I felt like in my heart of hearts, I was like, it's going to be a beautiful relationship. And it was.
Yeah. I think my place of fear comes from obviously not being chosen by the people who I have met.
Yeah.
And the very last encounter I had with a guy who I really, really liked, he didn't choose me. He ghosted me. You know, he chose to completely remove himself from my life without even giving me a reason why. It was just like,
it's pretty messed up.
I know, and he didn't do it once, he did it twice. And I was like, boy, you know. But he's, I don't know what he's doing. No, I think he's back with his ex now, which I knew was gonna happen. I'm just saying, my intuition is very strong. Currently I'm waiting on another guy to get back with his ex so I can get 20 bucks out of him. Moving on. This is a kind of a funny question, but when you make a smoothie, do you give Drew the bigger half or the bigger portion if you're evenly distributed? Or do you take the bigger half for yourself?
I give him the bigger half.
Selfless.
And he gives me the bigger half.
See, that's what I'm looking for in love, is just for somebody to give me the bigger half of my smoothie.
You know what's funny though is that a lot of people like have these like I've heard that a lot, like little small things of like how I know that this person like this person is meant for me, or like how I'll know that like I want to be with someone. It's something like that. They're like, when they make a smoothie, when they make coffee, do they pour you the bigger half?
Yeah.
Do they, and then my other friend's thing was, I like a girl who runs across the street in a crosswalk when she doesn't have to. Like, what does that say about someone? Like in the smoothie example, it's like, it says that they're selfless and they want to, they're a giver. They're a giver. They want to give to you. And then in my friend's crosswalk analogy, it was like, he wants someone that's considerate when they don't have to be. Because in a crosswalk, like, you have the right of way, you're the pedestrian. But why are you running across the street, like getting out of the way of the cars? Well, like for him, it's like, you don't have to be considerate in that moment, but you are choosing to be. And like he wants that kind of girl. And then for me, it was when Drew he opened the door for that stranger. So we went to this like viewpoint at his hospital, the hospital that he works at. And he had his ID badge, like, let us in after hours. Oh, hospital, please don't watch this. But he has ID badge, and there was a visitor, maybe like a family member of a patient who was locked outside. She had gone out for a smoke, and she couldn't get back inside the building. And it was like 11 p.m. at this point, so no entrances were open. And we were on our like second date. And we were driving out the parking lot, and he just like, when we walked by, he's like, oh, I hope that woman's okay. I hope she's okay. Like, and we drove by and we stopped, and he was like, I'm sorry, I have to help her. So he gets out of the car, he like badges her ID, and he actually badges her into the elevator and walks her up to the unit that she was on, made sure she got back to the correct unit. And she was like, I went for a smoke, I'm so sorry, like I didn't know, and I've been waiting here for like 20 minutes for somebody to come by and let me in, and like blah blah blah. And so for me, that was a moment that I was like, like
did you call me right after while you were waiting in the car?
I might have.
They're like, oh my gosh, Virginia, you won't believe what he just did. And I was like, what? And I think that's the moment. No, it was, I told you about this conversation. You called me and you said something about soulmates. And you're like, I normally don't believe in soulmates, but this guy just spoke to my soul.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I think they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
That's when I knew.
Yeah.
And that's when you knew.
Yeah. I mean, there was a series of moments, but
that was one of the moments where you're like, he feels like the one.
Yeah.
Right? Can I say that?
Yeah.
I don't want to put words into your mouth.
No. Like I can remember like from our first date and our second date, our third date, or like fourth date, that like there were specific moments where I was getting freaked out because I was like, hold on, like we've only been on, like I barely know this person, but for some reason like my soul is singing. Like my soul is something in my soul
right.
sparking.
Oh, that makes me like emotional because I'm so happy for you.
Oh.
And even after we got off that, every time I get off the phone and you're talking about Drew, I'm just always so happy for you. And you know what's crazy though, is that I've never felt jealous. Like I'm so happy and grateful for you that I'm not envious of what you have, you know? Because one, I think that comes from a place of like, I'm okay with where I am now.
Yeah.
And when the time comes, that'll be for me too. But I'm just so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. And I'm so grateful that you found someone who you can see these beautiful attributes in and be like, you complete me and make me feel like I'm, it's I think when you really care about somebody, like how much I care about you and I love you, to see you in a good place like that makes my soul feel at peace, you know? And it makes me feel like I don't gotta worry about her. Not that I do worry, but like you want the people who you love to be the best version of themselves, to be in the best headspace for themselves, for everything to be the best for them. Yeah. And the fact that you found the best for you through Drew, that's everything I could pray for the people in my life, you know? Like you have an amazing job, you are thriving, I would say. You're taking steps to fulfill your dreams and live out things that you wanted to do for a really long time, and now you're with somebody who you can share those moments with. I mean, I was a little jealous because I'm like, he's gonna take her from me. But other than that, but I feel like it hasn't really affected our relationship.
No. And like,
but with your first boyfriend, it did.
Yeah.
I was like,
young.
Boy, you taking my girl. I remember talking to another friend that we have mutually, and her and I would just sit there and be like, where's Em? We'd be like, oh, she's with him again. I feel like we just don't see her anymore.
I mean, like now we're so much more mature.
Oh, for
like, that
sure.
was freshman year of college. Like,
yeah, no, that was a whole different head game.
We were so immature. I was immature. Like they were immature. Like, it's just different now. But like to go off of what you were saying, like that you were like I feel secure in myself, that I'm happy for you and I'm not envious for you. I feel the exact same way about you, and I actually don't feel like, Virginia, like I hope you find someone like that, or I want you to.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
Yeah, like I genuinely don't feel that way because I see the same exact things that you said. I see you thriving. I see you like evolving. I see you in such a secure place that honestly, if someone came along, I'd be like, I would just have an eyebrow up. I'd be like, what are
what are you doing?
like unless you are 10 times greater and you're going to multiply her like her growth right now, like don't even. I'm like, stay away.
That's exactly what I was saying to the person I was talking to yesterday, right? Like I don't need someone. I'm cruising on a road right now. Things aren't perfect, they never are, but I don't need someone to take me off and like don't halt me. Don't slow me down. If you're not running the same way I'm running, at the same speed I'm running at, don't
and not even that, but I feel like challenging you to run faster and run further, that is the kind of person that I know that you wouldn't like.
But sometimes I think love is the one thing that can make you do the most absurd things. So if I was to meet someone and I just became so infatuated with him, honestly I feel like Emily and I could do a whole thing on just infatuation. Honest. But to be so infatuated with somebody, they can really like take me off the road that I'm on.
Scientifically, your brain when you're infatuated is like similar to that of a brain of someone who is high on drugs.
Oh wow,
So
that book, the Robert Greene 48 Laws of Power that I'm reading, one of the things that brings kings and emperors to their knees is love. Women. And it's insane.
And there's been wars fought over love, over women and things like that. But if you think about it too, like if you think about like someone who has a physical dependency on a drug, like how they act when they're fiending for that drug, then on the other side, like people are gonna act crazy when they're in love, when they're fiending for love.
People say that you find the person when you least expect it. But I've never heard someone say when you were actively looking for them that you found them. Do you think that is true for almost all situations. For like, to meet the person that you're meant to be with.
100.
Really?
100%. I don't know what that phenomenon is about. I think that it could be that you are, like I said, like I think this is the way that I approach dating. I think that when you're so focused on writing your own story, somebody else is also writing their own story, or maybe God is writing your stories, whatever. And there is a meeting point that you're not aware of, and that it'll meet at some point. But if you are trying to write your own story and trying to include that other person in it, like I feel like that's where it gets dangerous, it gets messy. And so I think that's why like the best relationships come out of that, because you're so focused on like building yourself up, healing, or thriving, or learning whatever you're doing, and that person will just they'll also, it's not that they like come along like they're like, and you just, oh hello, like you meet on the same path. It's that they're doing the same thing and you two just happen to collide.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's about.
Because I mean, how many people do I know that are actively looking for a relationship right now?
A lot.
Like so many. And there's nothing wrong with being on dating websites and stuff like that. Like I personally don't see anything wrong with it. There are so many people that are just, all they want is to be in a relationship, and then they find themselves not having any luck. They're like, well, why am I not finding my perfect person? Like, I'm ready right now. I feel like everything is just pointing me towards being in a relationship, and that is what I need to be, and they just can't seem to find that person. But all the greatest love stories that I've heard always came out of a place where they weren't expecting it. So these people who are expecting to be in relationships and aren't in relationships are constantly being disappointed. And then you have the people who don't want to be in relationships and are expecting to be in relationships, and they're the ones that do get in relationships, and then they're the ones that found their soulmates.
Yeah.
And my biggest question is, how do you let go of that expectation? Because then you're like, all right, I'm letting go of this expectation of wanting to meet somebody and being with my soulmate. But then you're expecting for the opposite to happen, you know, where you're like, because I'm letting go, then I'm expecting for somebody to come along and that soulmate to meet you, you know? And how do you get yourself out of that mindset of that expectation? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think,
does that question make any sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I think like you're like, how do you let go of that expectation? Yeah. I think that something that the guys from JK News, Just Kidding News, is like, they can be pretty wrong, they can be pretty out there, but sometimes they say really poignant things. And something that they always say is that, like, I think that people, and I totally agree with this, that people have trouble in dating and in life in general because they're looking to take, they're looking to receive, they're looking to I'm looking for someone to give me this. I'm looking for someone to add to this way in my life, and like to give me this, this, and this, and this.
A transactional relationship
versus what you should be focusing on. Like I said, this is also kind of going with like writing your own story. Is that like, oh my gosh, I have all of this to give. Yeah. I have so much love. I have a loving family to share. I have like money or whatever it is that you think that you have to offer to someone. If you focus on those things of like, I can offer someone, and that will benefit you in your friendships and your relationships and romantic adventures. Like I think that if you focus on that, you will kind of take your focus off of like, why isn't someone coming to my doorstep? Like, where is my soulmate? Why isn't someone coming to me? Right. Like, I think that if you focus more on like, hey, like, I have so much to give. I have good conversation. I know a good place we can go eat. Like, those things are things that you can give to people, and that will kind of take your focus off of like looking and like, when is this person coming? In anything in life, if your expectations are too high, like you can be disappointed. Yeah. And I think that, like, for me anyways, part of like why I think that not that you don't do this, or not that other single people don't do this, but like trusting in God's timing. Oh yeah. And trusting that, like, and trusting your gut too in a lot of situations. I think a lot of people are like, I'm trying to marry this person, but they don't want to marry me, or I'm trying to marry this person, but this doesn't work out. Well, it's because you're trying to marry every person that comes along. You're sifting through every person that you'd go on a blind date with, or every person that you go on Tinder date with, or every person that you meet at the grocery store, like you are filtering them through this like, can I marry you filter. And maybe if you just take away that filter and just be like,
just get to know people.
Just get to know people for who they are and find out what you don't do and don't like about them. Like you might have more success.
Oh yeah.
Than like this looking through this lens of can I marry you? Can I marry you? Can I marry you?
Yeah, I think I definitely, for me personally, when I think about when I meet a guy, right, and I'm like, oh, he's cute, and then I start thinking, could I see myself with this person? You know, do I think marriage? Maybe that's too premature, you know? Like, I don't even know what shoe size you are. And people are automatically putting rings on their fingers, you know, what kind of ring is he gonna get? Like, whoa. Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe with the intention of dating to marry. I've always been like that. And I think there's a lot of value in that. Although, if you only look at something as a guy, as a husband, you're gonna have a hard, I genuinely believe you'll have a hard time finding a husband. And you might miss the opportunity of making friends through the process though too. Because you're only seeing them, oh, they're not my husband. Out the door, next. And I don't like that. Like, I like having guy friends.
And you like miss out on like genuine connections. Like, you can connect with someone really well, even if you're like, oh, but he doesn't make X amount of money, or like, oh, he doesn't, his family isn't like those things will hinder you from potentially having a really good connection with someone.
For sure.
And if you like, any good marriage has compromise. And like, if you are dismissing that connection because of XYZ, like you could be missing out on a really good opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, I believe that. I believe it. All right. Oh, I wanted to this is something I think I told you about this, but there's this TV show on Apple TV. I watched it a year ago, and it's called Trying, and it's this couple, and they were trying to have a baby, but they were having infertility issues, or fertility, would it be infertility issues?
No, fertility issues.
Yeah, they were having fertility issues, and so they decided to adopt. And the adoption process, I mean, I'm not familiar with it, but I can imagine it's intense. I mean, you're trying to welcome a child into your life. So one of the processes of one of the steps in the interview was to interview exes. So this couple they were like thinking about all their exes and which ones they have bad blood with, you know, and the guy was like, okay, I have this one ex, and I think that she might say something that could jeopardize our chances of getting a baby. And so he meets up with her, and he's like, can you please say nice things about me, blah blah. And she genuinely said, I can't say bad things about you because I respect you and I loved you. I don't love you anymore, but I always knew that this better version of yourself that you're giving to this woman existed. And I thought that if I was going to stay by you, I would get to see that version of you. But instead, what you did is you practiced on me so that you could be the best version of yourself for her, which that's just the way that played out, you know, and you can't be mad at what life does because it just does what it does and it's not going to ask you. But I think that is such a big thing that I think that it's just not fair to practice on other people. And that kind of going back to what I was saying, if you're in a hurt place, don't drag other people into that hurt. Yes, share how you feel and try to heal from it, but don't expect, like, be honest with yourself and stop wasting people's time. I think that is my biggest thing. That's just something that really grinds my gears. Is when people waste other people's time, especially in a relationship. If you know, I think you need, and this comes with time. I think that once we become more mature, we realize these things. But if you are not healed, do not invite other people into your life. And I've said that a million times already, but and I think I'm speaking from a place of experience because that's what happened to me. Like, somebody welcomed me into they're like, hey, come on in, no, I'm fine, I'm emotionally healed, blah blah blah, and they weren't. And I the crazy thing is that I knew. I told him, I said, you need to take care of what goes on in here because that will reflect onto me. And I care about what goes on in my heart. And what I care about my heart too. So don't break it. Anyway, and he was like, he's such a great, anyway, whatever, I'm not getting into that. But the thing, and I think that episode actually helped me heal a lot, because I was like, wow, okay, like this has nothing to do with me, but it has everything to do with them, you know. But you're making people go through these emotional like turmoil because you can't take time to be honest with yourself. Yeah. And I have, okay, this
that is right there, that's the important part.
This is a really bad thing for me to admit, but I really have a hard time being empathetic with people who are choosing to put themselves in a situation that they know that they're not supposed to be in, and they're just going back to it over and over and over, and then they wonder why things aren't going well in their life. No offense, sir or ma'am, but that person isn't good for you. Yeah. Yet you still are constantly with them. Yeah. And you're spending your time and you're giving them your emotion. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I think, like, also speaking from experience, like, people do that because it's comfortable, and you would rather be comfortable, like, than uncomfortable. So even in an example of, like, someone who's in a hurt place and they're seeking relationships when they shouldn't be, like, they should be focused on healing and stuff, and they bring other people into that brokenness, it's because it's comfortable for them. It's comfortable for them to have a companion to go through that brokenness with them, to try and help them heal. But what's actually truly difficult and more uncomfortable is to face your own brokenness and to look yourself in the mirror and say, like, I need help, I am hurt, because it's so hard, it's so traumatizing to, like, go through a breakup, or, you know, go through whatever things that you're going through, and so it's easier to put a band-aid on it than to actually let it heal, let it get inflamed, let it get swollen, let it hurt, let it be painful. It's way easier just to slap a band-aid on it and call it a day. And unfortunately, the band-aids are people. Yeah. And you can't treat people like band-aids, because they're disposable. They don't work. They stop working after a while, you know? Like,
it just sucks because it's like a domino effect, right? Like, you're hurt, and then you hurt people, and they hurt other people. It just keeps going on, and you have a pool of brokenness, you know? And we could I feel like we could really not do that if we just were honest with ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. And just took time to heal on our own versus...
Yeah. Even when I was dating, like, there was one point where I was in a place where I was just kind of like, I'm still healing from my relationship, but I am in a place where, like I do kind of want to have fun. Like, I want to flirt, I want to date, I want to, like, get to know people, but I knew I was still healing. So I was just honest with myself and honest with the people that I was bringing into that, was like, hey, I'm interested in having fun and dating, but I am not emotionally available. I will not commit to a relationship with you. So that is that. Like, if you're okay with that, then let's, like, ride this out.
A lot of people don't come with that kind of transparency.
They don't come with the same transparency, the same honesty, and they say, oh yeah, like, I'm in the same place too, like, let's have fun. And then they're like, I like you, and I'm like, I told you not to like me because I'm not emotionally available, and I told you from day one. So, like, I think that it, like, in theory can work, but it often doesn't work because emotions aren't black and white,
unfortunately. You know? Yeah, no, that's so good. I feel like I didn't really talk about being single that much.
No.
Sorry.
But I kind of touched on it.
Yeah, but let's go back to that, why being single has such a negative connotation, right?
Girl, we could do, like, a whole...
that could be a whole video in its... Let me just say something, okay? Speaking from a place of singleness, I do not find shame at all in being single. I think that there is so much beauty in being single, and there's so much beauty in being in a relationship. And I think it's external factors that make you feel ashamed of being single. And I've had, like, I know a lot of my single friends could speak on this too, but saying things like, oh, you'll understand when you're married. Oh, you'll understand when you're in a relationship. First of all, if you're in a relationship, please stop saying that. I'm gonna, on behalf of all single people, stop saying that. We are okay, okay? And I think I speak for the majority. I know I speak for myself, and I can speak for a lot of my friends, but we are okay. There is so much, I am I'm trying to think of how to put it into words, how grateful I really am. There is nothing wrong with being single, okay? Nothing, literally nothing. There is a time to be single and there is a time to be in a relationship. And I think it's important to take advantage of every moment that you are single and every moment that you are in a relationship, because just because you're in a relationship does not mean that you will always be in a relationship. Life happens. Things can happen, you never know, but appreciate the moment for what it is. And I think that once I started doing that, I really became content in my singleness, and I was like, I'm actually really happy being where I am right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but recently, okay, this is off topic kind of, but recently people have been saying, this kind of freaks me out. I'm like, please stop. They're like, Virginia, I can't wait to see you in love. And I'm like, do not.
Stop. Why are you saying that? All of you who are saying that, just stop.
Yeah. I'm like, please don't say that. That scares me, first of all. Second of all, I'm happy where I am. Like, people in relationships that are saying that.
And like, here's the thing, okay? Like, just because you are in a relationship does not mean you're happy. Just because you are single and you're looking for a relationship doesn't mean the relationship is going to make you happy. Yeah. Like, you need to find that happiness on your own.
Yeah. And
like,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and like, how I see it is that like, relationships don't add anything. You're not missing out on anything. I think that it multiplies your happiness or your joy that you already have existing, but they're not adding, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
You would think that like, okay, adding and multiplication is like more, right? But like, adding to it, I think implies that you're missing something. Yeah. But multiplying means that it's already there and it's just growing.
Right. No, that's, I think you just answered my question. My camera's dying, oh my gosh. But that was my conclusion, is that it's naive to, I believe that it's naive to believe that I'll be happier when I'm dating, when I'm married. That's not true. Your happiness is found in today. And is that wrong to say? Like, you can find happiness today. It doesn't matter if you're single or if you're in a relationship. Find peace. Okay, my camera is literally dying. Cheers, you guys. Thank you for tuning in for this Tea Time with B.
Yep.
I'm glad Emily was here to do this with me, and I'll see you next time. Do you want any closing thoughts?
I hope y'all who are single and y'all who are in relationships, or whatever your relationship status is, like, I hope that this helped you in any way, shape, or form.
Feel good about yourself, because you are beautiful and you are loved. This burn, man.
Matches my scar.
Oh yeah, that one was bad though. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Okay, bye. Love y'all.